Welcome to the Level 1 Lounge. Grab your controllers and strap in for our uneducated take on everything and anything gaming related. I'm your host for this week, the one, the only, the second Irish Bandit. I'm being joined, as always, by my two awesome co-hosts, Agent Maverick 86 and Ryder Price 639. Gentlemen, how you doing today?
Oh, fantastic. Very excited for Friday. I cannot wait.
I'm doing
Awesome.
pretty good here too.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get everything underway as we power up the console here. And as always, we start off with a question for the panel. With the success of Fallout on Amazon Prime, my question this week is, what is your favorite video game to screen adaptation? It could be movie, it could be TV, whichever. Agent Maverick 86, let's start with you. And why is it Uncharted?
I did want to actually say Uncharted as a joke. Despite the ratings for that, I don't mind it, but it's definitely not my favorite. Uh, it's not a shock, but The Last of Us was definitely my favorite. Um, I I feel that it actually brought more life into different adaptations coming into play for TV and movies, and there is a bigger push for them now, and making the way for these games to come out and be turned into movies and games or movies and television series. The writing was nearly bang on in comparison to the original story in the first game, and the things that they did change gave a different perspective. I know that there's a lot of people that were upset with Frank's story with that one episode, but it was one of the best episodes I've ever seen on TV, period. I cannot talk enough about that series, and it I feel that it brought a lot more people into that game as well, and it was a perfect time for them to release the remastered or the remake version of 1 and 2. Uh, yeah, it was phenomenal. Pedro Pascal is an amazing actor.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot wait to see people's reaction to that event in season 2. I know the players know what I'm talking about. I
I
know
haven't
a
even
lot of
played. I
the
know what you're
people.
talking about.
Yeah, I cannot wait for everyone's reaction and be as mad as I was. But that's my answer. The Last of
I've heard
Us.
I've heard that Pedro Pascal is actually done filming all of his scenes for season 2. So
Yeah, and from what I understand, like they're a good chunk the way through, but it's season 2 is going to be very heavily focused on Ellie, and the actress that they have for Abby was going to be a great pick. I'm very excited to see Dina on screen as well, and I'm wondering where they're going to end it because, as far as I'm aware, season 2, game 2 will be broken up into season 2 and season 3. We do have to wait another year, but yeah, the House of the Dragon will keep me tied over until then, I think.
there you go. Before we move over to Ryder, just quickly, Maverick, what do you think if that happens in season 2? Do you think it'll be as rage-inducing as Glenn's in The Walking Dead?
Oh man.
Oh, the thing is, I I think I think it'll be worse.
Worse?
Um, I think it'll be worse, and the reason being is well, because of how they're going to end up shooting it. There's going to be a lot of focus on Abby as well.
Mhm.
Um, the second game, I had to replay it when they did the update, and the reason being was replayed one with a little bit of a different mindset and kind of paying a little bit more attention to what Joel was saying and realizing that he isn't a good guy. That changed my perspective for the second game. And I'm going to go in with that open mindset for season 2. The problem is that Pedro Pascal is such a beloved actor. You've seen him grow. The Glenn in The Walking Dead, as great as a character as he was, there wasn't a ton of growth.
Right.
You felt the growth with Joel. You seen and you're able to relate to him with the death of his daughter. All of that adds up really quick. And you understand his perspective right from the jump. You see that growth, you follow him through all of these episodes. I think it's going to impact viewers almost as hard, just as hard, or if not just a little bit harder. That's my perspective. I will have to see, but I'm definitely I'm waiting for the keyboard warriors to come out on that one.
And you know they will.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, Ryder, what do you think? What's your favorite?
Well, I mean, Last of Us is a pretty darn good pick. I mean, it's hard to top that one in particular based on how well received it was. But I mean, there's been a lot of video games that have been done well. There's been a lot of games that have transitioned very, very poorly to the screen. Super Mario Brothers.
Oh,
See, anybody, you know, kind of thing. But lately, actually, one of my favorite adaptations from video game to the screen has been Twisted Metal. This is a game that I called for way back when we were talking about our episode where what games would we like to see remade or remastered, and Twisted Metal was one of them. Anthony Mackie did an amazing job as the lead character in Twisted Metal. It was such a fun show. I know there's a lot of people that kind of poo-pooed all over it just because it wasn't really like true to the whole Twisted Metal theme. But I think the way that they made the characters was really, really well done. Loved Sweet Tooth. Having Samoa Joe as kind of like the bodied character behind him, and then having Will Arnett as the voice. Like, you put Will Arnett in anything, instant blockbuster. Like, come on now. But yeah, no, Twisted Metal. It was a lot of fun to watch. There was a lot of memories that came back, seeing a bunch of the various cars and characters kind of come back, and seeing the actual driver characters kind of come back to life, or be brought to life, I should say. Yeah, no, like I said, that brings back a lot of memories, a lot of nostalgia, and hopefully this one kind of sparks the developers to make a new game for Twisted Metal, because I would love to see one come back. So that's my pick.
Good.
Well,
pick.
so far they canceled that one.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be a live service, right?
If I had to pick, well, I do have to pick my favorite adaptation.
kind of how this works.
That's a tough one, but if I had to pick one, this is probably going to be. This might err on the side of hot takes, but I really, really enjoyed the more recent Mortal Kombat movie that came out. I thought it was so well done.
Good pick.
I was leery about the main character. I think his name was Cole, but I think he did. The actor behind it did a really good job with that character. Basically, like a character nobody's ever seen before, and just the way they brought in the other characters from the Mortal Kombat universe, how they incorporated them. And oh my god, oh shoot, what's his name again? Who played Scorpion?
Sanada?
That's him.
Yeah.
The fact they got him for Scorpion tops my books. He's one of my favorite characters in The Last Samurai. So, but yeah, I thought Mortal Kombat was a really good one. Another good one, just quickly, I thought was pretty faithful to the source material. We joked about it before, but the Super Mario Brothers movie, I thought that was so well done. Yeah, give it a little bit of needling for having Chris Pratt, who's basically in everything nowadays. But
I don't see the problem with Chris Pratt in that role. Honestly, you know what? It wasn't a bad movie. I just felt my review that I put up on my page, if you guys do want to check it out, the new Geek Corner, was a little bit lower, but it was mainly because it was a lot of fan service. That was the issue I had with it.
Yeah.
But I could see why you would enjoy it. The star that was in the prison cell still makes me laugh.
Yeah, I mean, the new Super Mario Brothers movie was fun. I do like the fact that Charles Martinet, the original voice of Mario in all the games, still had a part in the movie early on. If those of you didn't catch it, but I mean, Chris Pratt probably wouldn't have been my first choice for Mario, But I mean, it was fun. The movie was fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was no blockbuster by any stretch, but it was fun to watch.
There was actually a new edition that dropped today. So this, of course, is being recorded as of the 24th of April. On Paramount, they actually released a Knuckles series.
Oh yeah.
So I am going to have to check that one out. That was actually another nickname I had with one of my jobs. Was Knuckles. I punched a box open to break it down, and I cut my hand open the one day, so that everyone started calling me Knuckles. So I've always kind of enjoyed that character for that reason. Is one of the that reason as well, one of the many reasons. But I definitely, it's on my must watch. I want to get through Fallout first. I just started Fallout today, so want to get through that. Then I'll do Knuckles. I may do some reviews on that as well.
And it was just announced
Good.
recently for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Keanu Reeves is going to be voicing Shadow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard that too.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's get down into level 1 and let's get down to the news. So first and foremost, what are your thoughts on 30 FPS gaming in 2024?
So I threw this up on our news stories today because I came across an article that Hellblade 2 is going to be locked at 30 FPS. Gotham Knights last year was locked at 30 FPS. Here's what I've got to say in regards to Hellblade 2. We know we're going to get awesome combat. We know we're going to be getting a deep story that's going to mess with our heads. Here's what I have to say to that. Relax, people. I know there's a lot of people that are upset about it. We've had the discussion of letting developers do what they need. There's going to be a rationale behind this. In regards to Hellblade, it's more than likely that there's some sort of restrictions that they're having with the Series S, because let's face facts, it's not as powerful as the Series X. I personally think that the Series S is actually holding back the Series X generation a little bit because of the issues that it has. Not that it should be capable of doing it, but the developers should be allowed to downgrade the games a little bit. With that expectation set, it's hard for them to hit that 60 FPS with the Series S in play. I don't think it's a bad thing. My thought pattern is when it comes to this game, is with these games being locked at 30 FPS, there's a reason for it, and it's because they want to enhance the graphics. That's the thing with the next gen. You want 30 FPS, 4K gaming, or 60 FPS and 1440p. For me, as far as I sit back, I notice the 60 frames per second a lot more than I notice the 4K. But let's face facts. Gameplay and story is king.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares about the frames per second when the situation comes up? That's my thought pattern.
Ryder, what about you?
And I'm on the monetary side of things. Yeah, like me being a tech head, pushing 60 FPS costs money because you need the hardware in order to be able to run it. And it's not to say that these particular consoles can't run it. It's just that if you try running consistently at 60 FPS, at whatever resolution and whatnot, especially for a game that's so detailed, like Hellblade 2, you're going to burn out your hardware a lot quicker at 60 FPS than you are at 30. You're going to be pushing your hardware a lot harder. Your fans are going to be blowing at higher speeds. Like I said, it runs a higher risk of certain hardware failing, whether be in warranty, out of warranty, what have you. But yeah, if you push the hardware too hard, you end up burning out a lot of consoles, and a lot of players are going to be a lot angrier with you for hey, I bought Hellblade and played it, and my PS5 burst into flames. That's kind of my reasoning on it. I mean, it sucks that
it'd
it's
be a
30
little
FPS, but
I'd be a little worried if you're playing Hellblade 2 on the PlayStation 5 because that's not happening.
No, I know, but you kind of get the idea at least.
Yeah, I do.
It may be a very really terrible example, and I apologize to the Xbox fanboys that are about to rip me apart in the comments section. But you get the idea. You, like I said, you don't want to end up buying a game that you really want to play. You put it on your console. You crank it up you crank it up as much as you possibly can. 5 minutes in, all of a sudden, your console blinks out and it's a brick. So I mean, I get I know people want 60 FPS. Smooth gameplay makes everything feel so much better, but you have to look at hardware limitations based on the game that they're putting out, which is why I am PC Master Race. So
here we go.
Anyway, that's my particular take on it. Yes, 30 FPS sucks, but you have to think about the health of your hardware in the long run of things. Eventually, the next generation will probably be the same thing, where everything that's going to get released on Xbox, whatever they happen to name it, and the PlayStation 6, they're going to baseline it at 60 FPS, and players are going to complain that it's not at 120 FPS or 144 FPS, what have you. I mean, I imagine we're probably going to have the same argument later on down the road when the next generation is released.
Oh, no doubt.
And I think we're going to start having that argument a little bit more in November when they actually release the PlayStation 5 Pro, which of course is still speculated.
Imagine the Switch 2 comes out with native support for 144 FPS.
I still think what we're going to see for the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be 60 FPS 4K with ray tracing. I think is going to be what they're going to be aiming for.
I mean, if they're going with the Pro, they kind of have to. I mean, technically speaking, I can't remember. I'd have to look it up, but I can't remember what GPU it is that they put in the PlayStations to begin with. I know the processor is AMD, but I don't remember what kind of GPU they put into them.
I thought there was a patent that they were going to do 2 GPUs in the Pro.
Yeah, something like that.
At least there was a patent was released for it. But
I mean, I mean, technically speaking, AMD can basically do ray tracing, as it were. I can't remember what their architecture is called off the top of my head. And then you've got NVIDIA, which has both ray tracing and DLSS, for smoother frame rates and taking loads off of the GPU. Whatever they put in the Pro, obviously they're gonna have to beef it up. Because you're not just gonna make it a Pro and put just a baseline entry level video card in, obviously. But I think you're absolutely right on that one, Mav. There, once the Pro comes out, it'll be baseline 4K 60, and that'll be that.
But I wouldn't hold your breath on that being the expectation that needs to be set. I think there are still going to be games that are going to be locked at 30, and I think that's going to be. Comes down to this for the developers, which, let's face facts, we've beaten that dead horse multiple times of games are just costing too much for development and they're going to need to find a way to cut costs. So that being said, I still think you're going to see those 30 FPS games.
Yeah, we're going to be beating that dead horse here in a second, but I'm glad you two were here to talk about this because most of this stuff just went over my head. I'm sorry. I'm the kind of player who I don't care about FPS. I just look at the graphics and go, ooh, pretty. And that's it.
That's still a decent take though, Rob. I mean, you should absolutely be sharing that. And I'm in agreement with you. That's a much shorter version of what I just said. Mm-hmm. So
I look at Remake and I'm like, ooh, pretty pictures, and I don't care about FPS. It's like.
I still play that one at 60. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, on to more news. And what seems to be like a recurring trend on the Level 1 Lounge podcast is we're talking about layoffs. This time from Take-Two Interactive. Grand Theft Auto. What was that?
Sorry, go ahead. No, sorry, go ahead. I've been bottling this one up for a while. But go ahead.
We'll let you have your piece here in a second there, Mav. Grand Theft Auto publisher Take-Two Interactive to lay off 5% of workforce scrapped several games. But from what it looks like, Grand Theft Auto 6 will not be one of them. It'll just be moved to 2030. Video game publishing giant Video game publishing giant Take-Two Interactive is laying off 5% of its workforce, approximately 600 employees, and canceling several projects currently in development as part of cost-cutting initiative across the company behind Grand Theft Auto. This after CEO Strauss Zelnick, I think their name is,
Yeah.
compensation package topped $42 million, jumping from over $16 million the year before. Like I said before, this seems to be a recurring trend with the news and seeing all these publishers with layoffs of their workforce. Mav, I know you have something to say, so floor is yours, my
When
friend.
we're talking one of the biggest gaming companies out there, biggest game developers out there making these cuts. You know what? Fine, I get it. But when you're paying 42 million to your CEO last year as a bonus, are you effing kidding me? I am sick and tired of seeing these trends happening. CEOs getting paid out, and to hell with the little guy. This is the third layoff that they've had this year after they promised that they were not going to have any more additional layoffs. 600 more people are out of work. And I feel so bad for these people, these employees, because they were promised that they were still going to have a job, and they've watched their CEOs take another $42 million payout. Next, Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out next year. It's going to happen. They're going to push for it, and it's going to be the biggest selling game next year, guaranteed. I promise you, it's going to be Game of the Year next year, and they're going to have a massive payout. Ubisoft, yeah, they've had a couple layoffs, but they told their stockholders, we're going to have a crap year. That was last year, and they were banking on additional things happening this year with Skull and Bones. We all know how that went. That's fine. They're laying their people off with the crap decisions they made. But this company has taken, the CEOs and the executives have been taking multiple payouts, and now they're getting rid of their employees so that they can keep their wallets a little bit fatter, and they can pad their bed a little bit more with those dollar bills at night. This is an absolute joke. As far as I'm concerned, that CEO should have said, you know what, we're having problems. Here's the money back. Let's keep the employees so that we can keep these projects going. Because next year we're going to end up having a huge payout and actually be able to earn whatever we lost back anyways. Who cares? I'll take the money next year. This is a joke. And to have that kind of payout to these CEOs and these executives after all of that. And one of the things that wasn't included with this, I don't have the exact numbers, but his wage was doubled last year as well on top of that. This is unreal that this is a trend. As far as I'm concerned, there should be some sort of regulation, or there should have the government step in and fine them for being able to make these types of cuts after taking that kind of payout. This is unbelievable. Anyways, I'm going to digress and give you guys your point to say this. Angry Mav brand is over.
All right,
I totally agree with you, Mav.
I have one question for you, Mav. How do you really feel? I mean, you pretty much hit the nail right on the head. I mean, to see a payout going from over 16 to up to 42 million, and them laying off that many workers as a result, like how
third time this
how
year.
Do people
third time this year.
How do they keep coming to these decisions? Like, yeah, no, and it sucks because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for every gaming company that's out there, but it's quite obvious that something like this happens. They're not unionized.
No,
and that's the really, really crappy part. Because these people don't have a leg to stand on. I mean, hopefully, depending on where they're laid off, hopefully they have, a good severance package. Hopefully they're able to collect some sort of employment insurance premiums. But yeah, no, it's angering to see CEOs constantly get pat on the back for things that their entire workforce has been doing for them. Because if they didn't have this workforce, he wouldn't be he wouldn't have that 42 million. So yeah, no, it just feels like a knife in the back.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, thanks for making.
canceling additional games on top of it. Like
Yeah.
take the pay cut, get the games out the door. You guys are you are the biggest game developer in the world. You can handle it. Like you should be able to make these cuts, and you should be able to support your staff. You're getting more games out anyways. You're gonna make that money back.
Yeah, I think they should
Oh.
just rename the company to Take 42 Million Interactive.
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
Oh, swish.
Got
But yeah, no, that's that. Like I said, that's my take. That's my good take on it too. It sucks. I hate seeing CEOs constantly stab their own workforce in the back. It's like, hey, thanks for making me all this money. Your services are no longer required.
And just for the, I hate to say this, and I'm gonna, any developer that's out there, we understand, we've seen this happen multiple times. We've talked about it on the podcast. I feel for you. The union talk, I hate to say it, they're not going to allow people that are doormats be unionized. And that's the thing. Unfortunately, that's the way that these people are treated. They're disposable. They come in, they do a project. The project does well, doesn't do well, doesn't matter. They're gone. They're just removed. And it happens everywhere.
Yeah, and for all the layoffs that have occurred, I wish that there could be somebody with enough funding out there to bring all of these developers and bring all of these engineers and software engineers and musicians and everybody that's been laid off from all these various companies, and kind of bring them all together into like 2, 3, 4, however many companies you need, and just have them continue making video games.
It all comes down to this, though. Where's that revenue going to come
that's
from?
Why I say, that's why I say you need somebody with the funding for it.
Yep.
Right.
So one quick follow-up question before we move on. Do you think this is the last we'll hear of the layoffs within the
No.
God, no. There's going to be more. There's going to be more big CEO payouts, which means there'll be more podcasts with Mav raging his head off.
Only if the CEOs take payouts.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I think you're going to end up seeing something happen with Hasbro at some point in time too in the next little while. Their gaming division. This is one thing that I didn't post, but Hasbro has been looking for another company to do Baldur's Gate 4, which is fantastic news, but they're not going to be able to recreate it with the way that Larian did it. I think that there's going to be a little bit of fallout when it comes to that, when that does happen. I hope I'm wrong, but I think that's going to be one thing. I also really hope that Ubisoft is able to get their stuff together this year. I don't know if there's going to be another Assassin's Creed announced this year. There's been rumors that there has been, as fairly well. They've gotten a lot of backlash for Outlaws. I'm going to admit I paid for the gold edition because I always play all the DLCs. But I hope for the best for them, at least, so that they do okay. But there's going to be more at some point. It will absolutely happen.
Yeah, definitely it will. Hate to say it, but yeah, I think you guys are right on this one. Let's move on. Embracer Group has been on a losing streak as of late, having recently missed out on a $2 billion investment, laid off thousands of employees, and sold one of its key properties, Gearbox, at a fire sale price. If I'm not mistaken, Gearbox, they did the Borderlands franchise, correct?
You'd be right on that.
Awesome. Yeah. Now the company has announced plans to split into 3 separate publicly listed entities, reported by Bloomberg. The first is Middle-earth Enterprise and Friends, specializing in AAA games and overseeing the Dead Island, Killing Floor, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Tomb Raider, and Lord of the Rings franchises. Studios under its purview include Crystal Dynamics, good call, Dam Buster Studios,
Yeah,
Eidos Montreal, Flying Wild Hog Studios, great name. Love that name. Tripwire, this font is so.
Tripwire, Vertigo Games,
Games,
Warhorse
Studios, and 4A Games.
Yeah.
This company will remain with the current listing of Embracer Group for now. The second is Asmodee.
Yeah.
Asmodee.
Yeah.
Which will handle the tabletop gaming segments of Embracer Group. Titles it oversees includes Ticket to Ride, Seven Wonders, Azul, Catan, Dobel?
Double Exploding
Double,
Kittens.
yeah.
Yep.
Exploding Kittens. I still have
Exploding
to play
Kittens
that
is a
game.
great game, by the way.
I have to play that. Firefly, Coffee Stain, and Friends. I think that says.
Yeah, so it's finally Coffee Stain and Friends is a
Oh, okay.
company-wide indie-centric group with properties including Deep Rock
Rock.
Galactic, Goat Simulator,
Goat Simulator.
Satisfactory, Wreckfest, Teardown, and Valheim.
Gotcha.
There's a quote that was also added, I found here as well. The move has been made with the intention to unleash the full potential of each team and provide them with their own leadership and strategic direction. And this was said by the Embracer Group CEO Lars Wingfars. This is the start of a new chapter, a chapter that I intend to remain part of, an active, committed, and supportive shareholder of all three entities with an evergreen horizon. So Embracer Group is massive. To me, this is screaming that they want to be able to focus on the games that they have in development and have teams focus in on what they want to work on. Crystal Dynamics has been talking with, or has been doing a Tomb Raider game, a sequel follow-up to the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is going to be published by Amazon Games, as far as I'm aware, that I've heard of at least. So to have them focus on those is great. The Middle Earth games, so any kind of Lord of the Rings games that they have, Shadow of Mordor was good. Shadow of War was fantastic. But they don't have a lot of great games in that area, I find, at least in Lord of the Rings. Them breaking up, here's the thing. The tabletop gamers don't know a lot about what's going on with the video games. The video games have no idea what's going on with the tabletop games. So for those two to be like, well, we're going to work together. How are you going to have a digital designer digitally design a tabletop game? It just doesn't make sense. This move makes sense in my mind.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, having kind of splitting everything up into kind of specialized, I don't even know what you want to call them, not necessarily like sects or factions or anything like that, but kind of splitting everybody up into their own kind of like specialized pods, I guess you could say. I agree. Really, really good move. Having the board gamers into specialize into one section. Having having Middle Earth Enterprises do a lot of like the Lord of the Rings stuff. I wasn't a big fan of the previous Shadow games, unfortunately. Just wasn't quite my cup of tea. But I know they were pretty popular all the same. So not a knock against them. They just didn't quite feel right to me. But seeing things like Tomb Raider, obviously, another really, really big one. Again, not really my cup of tea, but super popular. Seen a lot of content creators play them. Dead Island, Killing Floor, same thing. Kingdom Come Deliverance, heard about it, haven't actually seen it. But I'd like to see kind of what more they can bring to the table, and hopefully now that they've kind of got themselves, a little bit more specialized and a little bit more focused on specific projects, hopefully we'll be able to see them come up with some more quality stuff later on down the road. Yeah, like I said, the board games. It's been quite a while since I've kind of sat down and played a lot of board games. But again, same kind of deal. If there's something that's really good that comes out. I mean, Catan, obviously, everybody knows Settlers of Catan. Almost anybody who's a gamer has a copy of Settlers of Catan somewhere in their house. I know I've got mine sitting downstairs. I said almost everybody there, Rob. Almost everybody.
Guys, I can't even pin you down for D&D. How am I supposed to get into something?
Well, I mean, D&D is that's a whole other can of worms you got to try and deal with anyway.
I still want to rage.
We know.
Yeah, but I think this will prove to be a win for Embracer Group, and now for each of its subsections. I think it'll be a good move.
All right, let's move on. EA Japan exec criticizes Japanese rating board for allowing Stellar Blade uncensored, but banning Dead Space. What's going on, CERO? Noguchi.
I'm assuming CERO is basically Japanese version of ESRB.
Oh, okay. CRO.
Yeah.
What's going on, CERO? Noguchi asked, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
I think it's actually the rating board that's in Japan
Right.
is the way that I'm reading that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asked in the post, translated by automation. The Stellar Blade demo was really fun and absolutely action-packed. However, CERO, you denied our Dead Space a rating because it included cross-sections of severed body parts and internal organs. But here we have both cross-sections and insides on display, passed off with a CERO. Is that a D rating?
D rating, yep.
D rating. I find this hard to accept. Thoughts?
So here's my thoughts. I've played the demo. The reason why I said I'm excited for Friday is because I will be playing and streaming Stellar Blade. I have the day off. I'm very excited to get my hands on it. Absolutely love the demo. Now, and I've played Dead Space, and I love Dead Space. Do I think that it deserved to be banned in Japan? Not a chance. But, yes, there is a but. The characters or the enemies in Dead Space were a lot more humanoid. And I think that's the biggest problem, I think, that this board had. And the other side of it as well is I think that they're also trying to have more of a support for games that are developed in Asia. Let's face facts. Dead Space is originated and was developed in North America.
Right.
This game of Stellar Blade was developed in South Korea, and there aren't a ton of games that are coming out of the Korea region. We talk about a lot of these games that are coming out of North America. They can be a little bit more picky and choosy when it comes to that, and I think in a way they're trying to support gaming in that region, and for that reason I'm on board with it. It just sucks that Dead Space was the one that had that issue. Dead Space was fantastic. I felt it got snubbed last year for Game of the Year for a nomination, not a win. But I would have liked to see it actually get nominated over Resident Evil 4. That's my view.
Yeah, I don't have too much really to add beyond that. I'm just not familiar with Dead Space, and like I said, I tried the Stellar Blade demo as well. At least I tried it out, so I had a chance to get my hands on it as well. Again, not my cup of tea. I like the graphics, I like the music. The gameplay to me just didn't quite feel up to my particular standard for what I like in games, but I definitely see this game kind of taking off and being still being pretty popular for for what it offers. But I feel like also I feel like there's another reason behind Dead Space being banned in Japan. I know there's issues when it comes to, especially when it comes to undead. Particularly in China, though, I don't recall if Japan has the same kind of I kind of like taboo mindset of it, where they kind of try to keep it under wraps type of thing. Maybe that could be possibly another reason why they banned it in Japan. But yeah, I mean, at least they're getting a game now that they can they can play and enjoy. But I think, Mav, I think your point is pretty bang on there. Having the developer in South Korea, I think, plays a bigger factor in this.
I think for me, thinking about it, I honestly think Stellar Blade is probably going to be on that short list of Game of the Year. It looks really good. Like listening to everything that you've said and what Ryder said about it. I think, honestly, it could give Rebirth a run for its money for Game of the Year, but we'll have to wait and see.
Here's my prediction for Game of the Year. If you guys don't mind listening to what I have to say in that case, I actually did have a conversation with Monster about this, and I I think Stellar Blade and Rebirth will be nominated. I do think Rebirth will probably still take it. It's likely that I think it will still take it. But I think there's going to be something that we're not anticipating that's going to be released this year.
That's my feeling.
That's going to
Yeah,
blow
I can agree
us
with that
out of
too.
the water. And I think we're going to know what it is either on Monday or during the state of play in June or the Summer Games Fest. But I've got a feeling, yeah, I think Stellar Blade will get nominated. I think Rebirth will get nominated, but I think there's something that's coming that we don't know about that's going to take it.
Because we're only in April and Game Awards are still months away. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of time for stuff to come out.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think also Helldivers 2 could be considered in the running for Game of the Year as well. There was another one that just
I think best community support though for sure.
yeah.
They'll take
Yeah,
best
for sure.
community support for sure.
100%.
Then again, I thought something like Rise of the Ronin would be Game of the Year, and everything I've been hearing is kind of mid at best.
I gave it a 6.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, combat was great. Storyline was lackluster. Combat got repetitive, very boring.
Yeah,
after
that's
a
what I heard
while.
too. It was really a lot of people were anticipating it, and yeah, a lot of people were kind of let down on that one, which is unfortunate,
Yeah.
really, because it sounded like it was going to be a really, really good project.
Oh yeah.
At least it's not as big as a disappointment as Forspoken was for me last year.
I heard
What
that
a
was pretty
pile of
disappointing.
trash, and I was so excited for that one.
But look at how
And
Square rebounded from Forspoken to Rebirth. Like,
That's true.
you know, they've actually had quite a few games that were better than I anticipated. Valkyrie Elysium.
Mhm.
I know that people kind of slept on it. Amazing game. Absolute story wasn't great, but the gameplay was absolutely incredible. Ryder, you've got to try that one. Next time I'm up,
it's in the list.
I honestly am tempted to mail you my copy for you to give it a shot. It is incredible.
all right, let's keep moving on with the news. We only have a few bits to get to. Some quick ones here. PlayStation exclusive Kenna Bridge of Spirits rated for Xbox Series X and S, and Helldivers 2 in early talks to come to Xbox as well. I think personally myself, this is a good thing. We've talked about in the past about exclusivity and how it should be done away with. I think this is a very good thing to get more people playing.
Especially Helldivers 2. Bringing it to Xbox, like it's already a ton of fun. Between myself and Chewy and Mav and Monster playing. Obviously, I'm playing on PC. I'm pretty sure Chewy's playing on PC as well, and then Mav and Monster are playing on PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Chewy has it on PS5.
Oh, is
Monster
PS5
and
as
I,
well? Okay.
yes, Monster and I both are playing it on PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I'll be getting on PC.
So you're the only one that's been playing it on PC.
Yeah.
For now.
Now, yeah. Well, I mean, now that I own the game, there's no real need for me to buy it on PS5. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, putting it on Xbox, yeah, absolutely. Bring more players in. It's already a ton of fun with just PC and PS5. Bring more people in. It's going to make this game so much better.
We're going to need our Halo brothers when they actually introduce the Illuminate, because that I got a feeling is coming soon.
Oh,
and we are in for a dogfight. You think that the automatrons are bad? These guys are like the Protoss from StarCraft. That's the type of guys that we're going to be up against, and they are shielded. So
even better.
we're going to be in for a ton of fun, and they're talking about potentially adding a 4th faction at some point too. Absolutely, we need our Halo friends.
Yeah,
and Gears of War friends. Please, we need reinforcements.
That'll be handy to have.
And Kena, I've played it. It was one of the first indie games that I've ever played. Beautiful game. They absolutely deserve a crack at selling more copies. It was like playing a Pixar movie, but in a game.
Cool.
It was so much fun. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Irish Bandit. You should probably check it out. Basically, you get your abilities from these little creatures. They almost look like trebles from Star Trek,
Okay.
but they're called rot, and they do have arms and they do have legs and big eyes, animated eyes.
Oh god, it's Karibo.
But they follow you around, and you could use them to tie up enemies, or create a hammer with them, or even create a creature to help you fight in certain situations as well. It's so much fun. The combat's challenging. It's a beautiful looking game. I can't talk that game up enough. Either one of you, I know it's on PC as well, for it to come to Xbox. Ember Labs deserves another W when it comes to that one. I think people with Xboxes that pick this one up will be blown away as well.
Let's see. Another little bit of news. This is also some pretty good news. Really good news. Star Wars Jedi Survivor joins Game Pass list on April 25th. I know, Ryder, you've played Survivor, so this should be some
Mav
good
as well.
news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I intend to play it. I gotta play Fallen Order first.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
on the list.
definitely play Fallen Order. There's a lot of context that goes on.
Oh, yeah.
Behind the scenes, or not behind the scenes, but kind of precursor to Survivor. But yeah, fantastic game. Loved it. Played it. Platinumed it. Once they fixed the patch with
Oh yeah.
with one particular side story. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't played it, but
I know which one he's talking about.
Yeah, I got hit with the bug on that one where it blocked completion. Yeah, and then they finally patched it, and I was able to pick up the platinum.
I did try to help you out with that platinum as well, because I think I platinumed it about 2 weeks before you'd finished it, or a week before you'd finished it.
Yeah.
But,
you got the platinum out of the way right before that bug hit.
Yeah, amazing game. I'm actually going to go back in and 100% it on Xbox, I think. So I'm gonna do my Stellar Blade stream, and then I'm gonna play Jedi Survivor on the side on Xbox, and go for that 100%. I've only gotten 100% in on Xbox, and I haven't gotten any platinums yet this year. So I'm actually hoping to do a platinum run for Stellar Blade.
All right. Well, let's get to our final news story. And we had Maverick's rage earlier. You're gonna get my rage on this one.
I'm with you.
Ex-Blizzard president says players should be able to tip money to developers. When I beat a game, there are some that just leave me in awe of how amazing the experience was at the end of the game. I've often thought, I wish I could give those folks another $10 or $25 because it was worth more than the initial 70, and they didn't try to nickel and dime me every second. Yabara wrote on Twitter. Yabara went on to note that I realize we are tired of tipping and everything else, but I view this different from pressure to tip type scenarios would may face and give feedback on.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Not
I'll rage
everything
with you.
needs to be tipped. I know there's this whole tipping thing going on now, but good service should be tipped. Tips should not be mandatory. I don't know who got the bright idea on that one, but I'm not for tipping. They've already got my $70, but or however much I had to pay for a game.
90.
Let's be honest. Most of the games I have or I got for free, but I digress. But no, just no.
I 100% agree with you. When I read that, I was mad, and then I came across the other piece of news with Take-Two,
Mhm.
and then I got more mad at that than I got with this. Here's the thing. I 100% agree with you, Rob. In this situation, we're already paying you $90
Right.
minimum for games in Canada. All right, unless they're on sale, or
Yeah.
they go to Game Pass or whatever, then I'm paying a subscription.
Like Remake
Thing
was
is,
something like over $90. I waited until it was on sale and I coupon. I got it for like 30.
right, but that with this situation, it's unbelievable believable that they say, "Oh, well, you can tip us." Okay, is that going to? That's not going to prevent you from laying off your developers. We're already
Exactly.
seeing developers being laid off left, right, and center. It's just going to be another opportunity for you to take the money and put it in your CEO's bank account and give them yet another bonus.
Yep.
Then on top of it, I've already given you my money.
Exactly.
I've already paid. You're also going to be taking a look at giving me more DLCs that you're going to charge me an arm and leg for 10 hours of content. You're going to give me all of these additional cosmetics. Yeah, I know I said I paid for Outlaws Gold, but I there's 2 DLCs that are included with that. Ubisoft actually does a fairly decent job with the length of their DLCs, which is why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. In this situation, buy the DLCs, don't buy the DLCs, whatever. You're still going to have that opportunity to sell me additional content. I've already paid you $90 Canadian for the game before tax. This is a joke. This has to be a joke.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this should have just been written by Kevin Hart. I mean, that it's got to be a comedian or at least somebody trying to do stand up. It's not funny.
There's a height requirement for that, though. That's the thing.
See,
Sorry,
the way
Kevin.
the way I tip a company is if I like the game and they have some good DLC that comes out, I get the DLC. Like I talked about during our indie episode, I talked about the developer Sad Panda Studios. I love what they put out. They put out the game Hush Hush, and I bought the 18 plus DLC. I bought the soundtrack, and I bought the art book. I am willing to give them money because I love the developers. I love the CEO, and I love the game.
I'll add a little bit to that. Gamers need to start voting with their wallets, and
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Absolutely.
This is one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to create my Facebook page to get my review out, so I could play the crappy games, so you guys don't have to. Okay, and I will tell you when I get a bad game, so you don't have to worry about it. Yes, I'm picky and choosy with the games that I want to play because I'm also trying to vote with my wallet.
Mhm.
If there's a slight interest from my perspective of something that I feel like I could enjoy, I will pick it up. If it's crap, I will tell you.
Mhm.
Just so you don't have to ever worry about it. In this situation, you're charging me $90. We all know for a fact next gen is going to come out in 3 or 4 years from now, and the charges are going to go up to $100 a game. It's going to be $99 per game. And they're going to nickel and dime us again some more. And this is one of the reasons why, again, we need to start seeing developers move to more AA options.
Mhm.
Lower the cost of the games, lower the cost of development, put out story-driven games that people actually want. Do that. You're going to end up burning money. You want to earn more money? You want tips? Give me a reason to buy your content.
Mhm. I just thought of the other reason why I'll always support Sad Panda Studios because they're Canadian.
There we go. Very, very good reason. Yeah, my thoughts on this is it's kind of the same. It's pretty much an extension of what you guys thought too. Like tipping in video games. First off, how would you even distribute that for starters?
Exactly. Microtransactions.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Mav would hit it right on the head. You know, if they gave options to tip in games, yeah, it would have to go to like some kind of centralized bank account and whatnot, and you can bet your bottom dollar that the CEO would just run right in and skim right off the top and going, well, you know what,
Absolutely.
I need a bonus. I need to be able to afford that third yacht and seventh summer home out in the Caymans, that sort of thing. But I mean, another thing to also take a look at here too, especially when it comes to the tipping culture as a whole. I've noticed there's a few more, particularly in the restaurant in the restaurant industry, the service industry. There's a few more restaurants where they're actually telling people not to tip, and the reason why is because their bosses, their CEOs, their managers, and whatnot are paying them a good enough living wage that they don't need the tips in order to survive, basically. And I feel like this is kind of this is where that kind of that same thought pattern should occur, in that we shouldn't have to tip video game developers because you should be paying them well to begin with, that they don't need it. So
Agreed.
that's kind of my thought pattern on this one here. And I mean, I'm I work in the IT industry, and I make a pretty good salary as it is. These developers are probably making quite a bit more than I am, particularly for the stuff that they have to do, for their particular projects and products and things like that. So they don't really need it.
No,
Just on the
never.
tipping part with restaurants, just to touch base on that, it unfortunately it's used as a salary in the States, so that's one of the reasons why that they do have that into effect. But I know that this isn't gaming related, but I do have to give props to the creators of South Park, because last year, in regards to tipping, they got rid of tipping at this restaurant, and they upped everybody's wage to $18 to $32 an hour, so that these
Yeah,
Awesome.
people
see?
can actually have a livable wage. So that restaurant that they actually purchased was Casa Bonita, which they made references to in South Park. But that's what they did, so that people aren't needing to tip anymore. And the thing is, if companies have livable wages, they wouldn't need to have the tip options.
Exactly.
And if they're
And
having livable wages, they're going to be able to come to work happy and be able to push out a project that everybody else wants to take part of, whether it be EA, whether it be Ubisoft, doesn't matter who. Pay your developers well enough,
Right.
and you're gonna see it in the product in the product.
Exactly that.
You don't need tips.
No,
So
you
yeah,
don't.
so this Ibarra guy, all I can do is
What he's
shake my
talking
head.
about.
It's just yeah.
so,
it's-
how
excuse me.
about no?
Yeah. I'm with Maverick on that one.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, insert Dr. Evil meme here.
Yeah. I kind of have the look.
Kinda.
You just need the wheelie chair to make
Yeah.
it happen.
Well, I kind of have one with my secret
Kinda.
labs chair, but yeah,
How about no? You
yeah.
crazy Dutch bastard. Anyway, I think it's time we wrap it up for this episode and put the controllers away. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining me this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I know Ryder's always pushing us to say that, but we always have the little graphics coming up saying like and subscribe every few minutes. But either way, be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on anything we talked about here today. You can follow us on any of our social media outlets. You can follow Ryder Pride over on his Twitch channel, where he is currently going through a hard mode run of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Great thing about that is you don't have to do any of the side quests.
Yeah, best part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Too much Chadley. Too much Chadley in that one.
Cloud, beep. That would be me. No. You can follow Agent Maverick over on the New Geek Corner on Facebook, and he will be streaming Stellar Blade this weekend over on his Twitch channel. And you can follow me on YouTube, where I am playing the mod of Doki Doki Literature Club called Doki Doki Window to Your Heart. I'm going to be starting the Maverick Challenge very, very soon with a Binding of Isaac. And I'm also playing Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered. Oh, what a great game. It takes me back. It's just, especially with the remastered pixels looking in it. Oh, so much fun. So much fun. But that'll do it for this week, and we will talk to you again next week. We are doing a showcase next week, if I do remember correctly.
Yeah.
I will be busy when we film that showcase, so I will not be able to make it. But we're gonna have a ringer coming in for that episode, hopefully.
I'm working on trying to get Monster back in for the episode. I can't make any promises or guarantees. Either way, I'm sure Ryder and I will still be doing the reaction worst case scenario. But it is an Xbox indie developer showcase, and it's going to be the beginning of the showcase season by the looks of things. So I think we should be getting some decent announcements though here next week. So I'm very excited for that show for sure.
Absolutely, I think we will be too, because then just around the corner is going to be Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, we got another
PlayStation
State of Play here sometime in is it May or June as well?
Yeah, I think that was end of May.
Yeah, so it's they're going to be starting to come fast. So,
and we'll have them all right here on the channel.
Hey. So until then, we'll wrap it up for this week. Thanks again for joining us for this episode, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.